oh man, life's exciting, right?
Thank goodness, right?
Technology, yeah, for sure. It was so much easier to just teach yoga, right? Let's
But
just
I'm awake now.
let's just do yoga, right? Oh man, yeah, it's so fun to see everybody coming in to hang out with us. Well, I love what your magazine is doing as well. I think that it's really important to still have print out there. Digital is where it's at. We get so much information, but there's nothing like holding a magazine and being able to look through it. And I don't know, I still old school analog. Really love what you guys are doing.
Thank you so much. And I agree. I mean, when we were starting the magazine, it was, everyone kept saying, just do digital, just do digital. And I said, that makes sense, but that I wanted everyone to have a moment where they just held something in their hands, didn't have their phone on, just could take a break, just open something, maybe have a cup of tea or coffee, and just for 5, 10, maybe an hour, just sit and just have a moment. And you can't, I personally can't do that with digital. I can do it a little bit better with print. So thank you for saying that, because it is important to me as well. And we can only do this because of partners like you. So thank you for supporting us. But I want to hear about your story. So you moved to Canada, you had a studio. How long were you open, and then COVID hit? I want to hear the story.
We opened Atlas Yoga Studio and School in 1999. Been training teachers since 97. And when COVID happened in March of 2020, we closed, and we'd already been trying to like figure out online, and we were realizing how bad we were at it. We did some videos and they're just terrible. It's just terrible. It's like not wearing makeup works really great for yoga, and here I am again with no makeup, but and it just didn't look awesome. And anyway, we tried a whole bunch of things in the fall of 2019, and then 2020 we went online, we did Facebook and everything. We finally figured out Zoom and figured out a scheduling system and all of those things. And I cried when I actually physically closed the studio in the fall of that year in September, when we hadn't been able to open from March, and I closed it, and I'm like, okay, I just have to believe that we're all heading where we're supposed to. This doesn't feel good, but trusting it. And we did phenomenally. If you'd asked me 3 years ago if I would do yoga teacher training online, I would have been, no way. There's no way. How could you? And then when we experimented with it in the spring of 2020, I was actually really surprised at how phenomenal it could be, and how meaningful it could be, and how many people we could reach, and the accessibility factor of just who we could reach, and the type of things we could do online that we couldn't necessarily even do in a classroom when we were together. So yes, there's still a few pieces missing, and we try to make in-person contact pieces so that everyone can take those either with us when they're available to be where we are. But I would say it's at least 60% better being online, if anything.
Wow. And we had no idea, right? No one had any idea. And I agree with you. I mean, I think we were all like, no, that's good for temporary, but I love that it's been sustainable and people have been able to keep doing it. And now you can do it from Florida, from Canada, you can do it anywhere in the world, and anyone in the world can access your training.
Absolutely. We've got people from Northern Canada, people from Chile, Mexico. We can offer sliding scale prices so that we offer scholarships in every program that we run. We actually have a program coming up this spring that I want to make sure we have time to talk about. It's called, and it's a personal, like really, there's a lot of meaning for me. It's we're offering a trauma-informed yoga teacher training, and it's free to the first 100 people who sign up. So we figured out yesterday we have 43 people signed up, still 57 spaces available in that program.
Okay,
for free. And we've got some really great guest instructors coming, and I've been doing work with the Embody Lab in integrated trauma, somatic trauma therapy, and the somatic attachment therapy programs. And we're going to be bringing a lot of really great practical tools for yoga teachers, coaches, and therapists to use in their practices to support people who've experienced trauma and to learn to spot some of the body and mind and language of folks who are dealing in, I mean, who hasn't had some trauma in their life?
Yeah.
It's hard to become an adult without having some type of traumatic experience in our lives at different points. And so not to make light of that, but to support teachers, we are offering it for free. And all we're asking is for really great feedback, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly, so that we know how to improve it for the future and make it as affordable as possible coming up. And
Wow.
it's, so it's a certificate program. You'll be doing about 100 hours of work. It's live online and it's being recorded. So if you're not available at the time that it's scheduled, then you can pick up the recordings and you can still do the readings and you can still do some group community chats, and there'll be a way to talk to the other people in the course. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I've learned a lot from the Embody Lab. Absolutely.
So for this training, I think you mentioned it is for yoga teachers, or is this training for anyone that's sort of curious about teacher trainings?
I would say you should be either yoga teacher, you're either in your 200 hour, or you completed your 200 hour, or a coach who wants to use some yoga techniques in their coaching, or a therapist who wants to bring more embodied somatic sensing work into their therapy practices. And it also helps coaches and therapists to be able to refer to yoga teachers when they know what yoga teachers are doing and that they're informed about trauma. So I think it's a great course for all three of, if you have a coach or a therapist who's curious about teacher training. This would not be a complete yoga teacher training, but they would be learning techniques that support their folks with trauma.
Wow. What inspired this? So there's so many things that you could offer for free, and there's so many types of trainings. What was the inspiration to offer this particular training and for free?
I believe that, like, in our 200-hour program, there really isn't time to cover everything that you need to cover to be a really well-informed yoga teacher. And so I've trained a lot of yoga teachers since 1997. And I feel that we do a good job of training them about trauma, but so much has come to the surface, and there's so much information now compared to what there was even 5 years ago. And so I think that our 200-hour programs are getting a little bit behind the time. And it started out as a bridging program for our 200-hour teachers and our 500-hour teachers to have a program that they could take so they would feel more confident and comfortable working with people who have trauma, and make sure that they're not causing further trauma in their classes, whether it's gender, race, body, all of the different ways that we make our programs accessible. You know, it just takes one moment to trigger someone's trauma, and then they never want to come back to yoga again. And if we can figure out, and I'm sure even after this program, we're not going to be perfect, and we may not be able to meet everyone's needs, but I wanted to create a program that would help us all to feel more confident and to create less trauma out there. And really, it was a gift to our teachers in training. And then I thought, you know what? It was evolving into something that was, I think, was beautiful and a standalone program. And I thought, I'm going to offer this out there and see if there's other people who want to do it with us, and give us feedback and see if we're on track creating a program that has legs and, you know, can really be of service in our industries. Right?
And I love that you're asking for that feedback, because like everything, everything needs to be ever evolving, right? So I've also noticed that as well. I mean, 4 years ago, even before COVID as well, trauma-informed yoga wasn't something that you heard a lot of. Every now and then you would. And I'm so happy that this is now something that people are interested in. And you already have 43 people signed up. And that to me is just amazing news, because that means that people want to learn about this and they think it's important. So thank you for offering that, and thank you for making it accessible, because as we know, accessibility is on many levels. It can be financial. It can also be access in terms of online. So like, as you mentioned, anyone, anytime, you've got kids, you've got a crazy schedule, you can still access the course before or after with the recordings that you're going to be offering. So thank you.
Yes. Yeah, awesome. I'm excited about it.
Any other trainings that you have coming up?
Yep, we have an online and yoga 200-hour yoga teacher training that starts in May. It's our spring training, and I only recommend that if you like things to come fast and furiously. It it's not for everyone, really. If you have small children, you have a job, you can't do the intense. But if you know that you learn better, there are some people, like my daughter's one of those people, that if it's spread out over a year, she's going to lose interest or focus or forget. And she needs to have things like intense. Let's do it all now. And so some people learn better that way. And some people can only do it this way because they have, space between jobs, space between the first child and the second child, or like lots of reasons why an intensive is the right piece. So that starts in May. You can find out more information about that on our website. And the fall, we have our regular 200-hour program. But I think what we're becoming well known for, and is really our baby, is our yoga therapy program. And it's a revolving entry. You come in, it's with a personal interview. There's a lot of one-on-one time. You get to meet with me and go through everything that you've done. And then we create a bridging program from our programming to make our programming and your programming match. And then we take you through a curriculum that's based on your personal interest and needs. And usually it takes you about 2 years if you've already done 200 and 500. If you haven't done your 500-hour training or your 200-hour training, it can be up to 5 years, depending on the individual and how much time they have.
Wow. Yeah. So you really offer something for everyone. So for the 200-hour, just so people know, that's for anyone. So anyone that's kind of has an interest in yoga and is maybe I'm not sure, that you offer for anyone. Is that correct?
And there's still scholarships available for the spring program as well. So
and
don't ever think you won't qualify. Everybody should put their scholarship application in, and we try to help as many people as we can.
And I also would love to share, if you have no intention of becoming a teacher training is still a great option. I took a teacher training in 2008. I do not teach yoga. And I also learned I didn't want to teach yoga, but I got so much out of the training in terms of life that it's so valuable.
Yeah. I find lots of people take training because they want to know more about yoga. To be honest, that the number one occupation that does that are engineers. I've had 10 engineers do yoga teacher training, and not all of them teach yoga, but they wanted to know more about yoga. They wanted to have a deep relationship with yoga and do all the things that we do in teacher training compared to just dropping into a yoga class, right? And we have an online membership, and one of the things that makes our online membership work is that it's a place for yoga teachers in training to teach. It's a place for other teachers. Sometimes we have teachers come to us who their teacher training didn't have a lot of teaching in it. So they come with us and they teach with us because I come into the class and give feedback. The other teachers in training come in and give feedback, and they're getting feedback from students who are experienced with teachers in training, and they're used to giving the feedback. Right? So it's a really nice environment for that. So that school feeling,
And as we know, feeling community is a big part of these trainings, and having people that you can talk to and share the experience, really, because it is a really profound experience. If you let it be, it can really change your life. It changed my life. So I always tell people, if they're kind of curious, try it. If you can do it, definitely do a teacher training. And you don't have to be a teacher. So it's a win-win situation. So I'm curious, for someone who you've owned a studio since 1999. You've been practicing for many, many years. Has your personal practice changed over the years?
Oh my God. Yes. Accidents, children. I've had 3 children in a yoga studio situation. Well, I had the first child, and then I did teacher training while I was nursing him, and I had 2 children in a yoga studio, and I've been in multiple car accidents and just aging, and then COVID. The first year of COVID, I had a really strong vinyasa practice, and then I don't know, I think I injured something. I just, I stepped off the boat wrong and knocked out my ankle, and then I just kind of went downhill from there, and I just crawling my way back up out of that injury. So life's full of injuries, right?
Yeah.
And stuff happens. I was about to say another S word, but stuff happens, right? And so sometimes yoga looks like meditation. Sometimes it looks like an athleticism. Sometimes it looks like kindness and compassion for self and others, right? And oftentimes it's about studying and myself and others. Like, the trauma course came out of, dealing with a lifetime of trauma too, and finding my way through it and wanting to help other people to find their way through it as well. And yeah, like, just because you didn't practice this week, there's no yoga police.
Yeah.
They're not gonna come and get you, right?
Yeah.
And it's yoga practice, not yoga all done, is one of my sayings in class. And remembering that it's awesome to have a personal practice, it's awesome to get to practice, but not beating yourself up when you don't. Like, having that spaciousness and kindness and go, oh, okay, today's not the day for yoga. That's good yoga. That means you're listening to your body, listening to your own intuition. And I would also say, no matter what any teacher, me or any other teacher, has to say, that it's really important in yoga to that practice of tuning into your own felt senses and really paying attention to what is it that I do need in this day. And that tuning in, that is yoga. That's the piece that's yoga. And when you listen, you start to learn the difference between the Kappa voice that says, I don't want to get off the couch, or I don't want to put down the TV controls, right? And the voice that says, I need to rest. They're really different voices. And I think the practice of yoga helps us to discern the difference in those two voices.
I'll be honest, I think that was one of the things that surprised me the most over the years of practicing, that it would change. I assumed when I first started, it was always going to be trying to do a handstand and sweating. And COVID actually taught me it could be laying on my floor for 10 minutes with my puppy crawling all over me. And that was yoga that day. And that surprised me. I knew it intellectually, but I don't think I believed it truly until I had to practice it. So I was very surprised by that. And thank goodness, because it takes a lot of pressure off you to know that it's ever changing and evolving. And that's a good thing, What is the thing that has surprised you the most over the years of owning a studio, of being in wellness? What is the thing that you have just been like, that's interesting?
I discovered this the first year I opened a studio, and I frequently, kind of take the temperature of a room and check this, is that it surprised me then, and it still surprises me, because it wasn't what attracted me to yoga. But you ask a room full of people what's their favorite thing about yoga, they say Shavasana. And I was like, I was always concerned about giving more details about this, or helping people to discover how to open up their shoulders, or how to have less back pain, and across the board, it never ceases to surprise me that every favorite part of yoga was Shavasana. It's like, all you needed to do is you needed to pay $20 to come and find out it's okay to have a nap, right? And have someone lead you through a nap. I never liked this, and it's wonderful, and it still thrills me that that's what is most fun to most people.
Thank goodness. Permission to rest.
That would one of my big awarenesses and learnings for me, because I don't think I found Shavasana easy in the beginning. As an older person, I really enjoy Shavasana, Yoga Nidra, but when I was younger, I was like, okay, we're done. Why are we laying here?
Right.
And it took me time to integrate that teaching more than anything. Just give myself the space to allow everything to come back to its basal metabolic rate, and my body to integrate what I was experiencing. And I guess I've learned from most of the teachers I've worked with that it's the one thing to never give up in your practice. Like you mentioned, lying on the floor on your mat for 10 minutes, that's yoga. That is yoga, for sure.
I love that. I love that. Denise, I don't even know what else to ask you, because I feel like you've answered every curiosity. Is there anything that you want to share before we wrap up?
You know, if you hate my voice and everything I say annoys you, don't let this be your last experience of yoga, you know. And if you go to a yoga class and you hated it, try other teachers and try other styles. And it's always, you know, what I want to say to any new group of people. So there's lots of people that have never worked with me before. And I say, if, you know, if I don't appeal to you, then just keep looking until you find someone that you resonate with. And it may or may not be your long-term practice like it is mine and other people's, but it's worth trying more than one teacher. Try more than one style and see if there's something out there that is just right for you.
That is the best advice I think you can
Yeah.
give anyone. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Denise, and thank you for
Thank
supporting
you.
our issue. I'm going to share the information about your training for anyone that just tuned in. I'll keep it on the Instagram and on the YouTube link as well. If you can send me the link for those trainings,
I will.
they are free. There's not that many spots left, so I encourage everyone to check it out. A trauma-informed training. This is an amazing opportunity and offering from your studio and from you. So thank you so much. I will share this information. I will send you the link as well.
Thank you so much for having me on this morning, and
Take care.
thanks everyone for coming and listening.
Yeah.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.